All right, so like I said, we're not doing stuff. Got a couple more days. We'll get today, tomorrow, a little bit of review before test Friday. All right, who can come drag those into the right spots? Greg? I just leave it. All right, so yeah, all those are correct. Let's just make it so we can see what they are. We got positive there. This one is negative. When you look at graphs, you look at it like you would read a book or anything like that. You go from left to right. If it's decreasing, that makes it negative. If it's increasing, that makes it positive. Slope on a graph is rise over run. If you have no rise, that's 0 on top, that's 0. If you have no run, that's dividing by 0 because the 0 would be on the bottom. And we can't divide by 0, so that makes that the undefined. Okay? You do have one on your test where you got to be able to identify just like the type of slope with it, okay? All right, find the equation for that graph. So remember, when we're finding the equation, you got your y equals, it's going to be something times x. That something's your slope. And then you add or subtract your y-intercept.
Explain it to you from now. Is he taking the test? Is he taking the test?
David? No, not quite. Greg? Yeah. We got y equals negative 1/3 x as plus 2. All right. Yeah, you forgot your negative on that first one. We use 2 points. We got to use points where it goes through corners of the grid line. I would use those 2. Y-intercept, we got to use anyhow, right? So might as well use that as one of your points. And then you want to use the one right next to it probably so you don't have to simplify. Then when you find your slope, it's rise over run. The rise is the up or down. Run is the left and right. So we got 1/3, but you got to remember, like we did with the matching right before this, we got a negative slope. When we got a negative slope, that makes that 1/3 negative. And then The y-intercept was positive 2, so we got plus 2. Y-intercept is just when it crosses the y-axis. Okay? All right, try again. All right, thanks. I got it. Negative 3/2. So we got y equals negative 3 over 2 x plus 6. Again, I'll use these 2 points. Rise is 3, run is 2. So we got 3 over 2 is going down, so that's negative with our slope. As we move from left to right, that's the big thing we got to remember each time. If this were a problem on a test or a check-in or an EOG, usually one of the answer choices is going to be something like this. The other one's going to have the positive version of that slope. All right, so you got to be able to recognize and remember whether to put the negative sign on it or not. Okay? All right, find the equation of that line. Y equals 2x minus 5. All right, so if you're doing this with Desmos, you would just put the 2 into a table, click the little button for the linear regression, right? And it gives you the equation. Without Desmos, and you will have to do one of these without Desmos on your test, we do change in y over change in x to get our slope. Our y values go from negative 1 to 7. X values go from 2 to 6. Our change in y from negative 1 to positive 7, that's 8. 2 to 6, that's 4. 8 divided by 4 is 2. Everybody good on the slope? Once you have the slope, you do y minus mx to find your y-intercept. Y'all, I would not use that point just because it has a negative number. Okay, you still might get a negative number for your answer, but if you can avoid a negative, probably a good idea. So I'm going to use the 6, 7 there. So our y value is 7 minus our slope is 2, x value is 6. So we got 7 minus 2 times 6 is 12. And then you just got to remember, when you're taking away a bigger number, that makes it negative. So we got negative 5. That's where the minus 5 comes from. Okay? Everybody good on that? All right, go ahead and use Desmos to find the equation of this function here. Use Desmos, yeah. Yeah, we got y equals 9x plus 7. All right, so Desmos, everybody good on how to get it on Desmos? Without Desmos, you would do your change in y over change in x. The y values from 25 to 43 go up 18. X values are going up 2. That's where the slope of 9 comes from. Okay? Then if we do y minus mx with this first ordered pair, I got 25 minus 9 times 2. 9 times 2 is 18. 25 minus 18, that's where the 7 comes from. Okay? As I've said before, you should be able to do this with or without Desmos. But, you know, half the time you got Desmos, you got to be able to use it as well. All right, so this one's tiny. I'll help with the graph. Graph here, I got a point here. I got a point right here. My rise is 2, my run is 1. That means my slope on this graph is 2. Right answer is to this problem. Greg? C is correct. We're asking for a slope that is 2 more than the graph, so we got to pay attention to what the question's asking you for on like these types of questions. Is everybody good with how I get the slope from the graph? We just find the next point where it goes through a corner. I got one there, you know, I got one here. It just kind of keeps going. And we do our rise over run like we would normally. I know those squares, when you're looking up on the board or from your seats, are kind of tiny. So that's why I gave you on that one.